The other thing we can look at is image formats. And this is, again, from the HTTP archive from February. And we can see the average JPEG is about 47 kilobytes. But there are other formats that can compress better, like WebP, which is a modern, newer format. And the average file is more than half the size, more than 50% smaller. So you can try different formats to see if those save at different levels. And when I save it with the structural similarity, the automatic quality reduction, and I change the format, it goes down to 345 kilobytes. So we just cut out another 150K. And it actually saved it as a WebP when I loaded it in Chrome, because Chrome supports WebP. And the great thing about this is I just have the format auto. And so if you use this URL, it'll still load in Safari. It'll probably be a JPEG. And it'll be a little bit larger, but you don't have to worry about saving all the different formats. The Cloudinary URL, that fauto, takes care of that automatically for all the browsers that may access this image. So what we can see is we're at 100%. When I take it down to the structural similarity and WebP, it's down to like a third of the size. So that's a huge way to reduce the file size. It still looks great to the end user, but it's going to be delivered a lot faster. So the next thing we're going to look at is I took this image of this church, and it was 1.6 megabytes. And when I do everything we just talked about in the last few slides, it drops 50% to 800 kilobytes. But the problem is, obviously, it's still ginormous, right, in terms of the number of pixels. It's a 13 megapixel image. So what happens if I try to serve that image onto a smartphone? Well, let's just make an assumption that it's a low-end smartphone and it's served at 600 by 800 pixels. So we take that 13 megapixels and we're only serving 500,000 pixels. What that means is 12.5 million pixels were thrown out. And so what ends up happening is you're getting this double taxation, essentially, of downloading the ginormous file, and then the phone has to process it and throw away like 97% of the pixels before it actually shows the image on the screen. And so if you have a phone where you load a page like this, you'll start to feel it get really warm because the CPU and the GPU are doing all this processing, draining the battery. And so it can really hurt you. And the closest analogy I can come to this is when you order something from Amazon and it comes with like 16 feet of brown paper, and you open it up and then you have to undo it and you realize like you bought a mechanical pencil and it came in a box this big, right? It's the same idea, but just the digital version.